Well, hello everyone. Happy fall. My name is Miss Jessica with Fibo Kids Art Academy. Welcome to our craft day today. Now we're going to be making a table setting. I don't know about you, but my family loves to get together and eat during the holidays, so I'm hoping yours does as well. We're going to be making 3 different kinds of crafts today, and when we stick them all together, it'll create a beautiful table setting for your whole family to enjoy. So let's go ahead and take a look at what it will look like in the end. Here is an example of how you could set up your table. Our 3 things we're going to be focusing on today are our napkin, how to fold it to create a really cool pattern, and we're also going to be adding a little place card. This one's all set up for me. The second one we're going to be doing is our mason jar and candle. We can add a cute bow, also put some things inside, adding some really good details. And our last one today is going to be the table runner, which is what you see under here. It's made of burlap, just like a lot of other things you see, and we'll add a little bit of a lace trimming on the end. So let's go ahead and get started with our mason jar and candles. All right, you guys, so as you can see here on my table, we have tons of things, candles of different sizes. I have a little one, my mason jar. Now I have some glue here, but I also have off to the side here a hot glue gun. Now for that, I definitely need to have adult supervision, but if you have any kind of glue, tacky glue works really well also, but Elmer's glue can work too. It just takes a little bit longer to dry. Now, I just gathered some materials with me. I have these little sparkly leaves, some pine cones, these little tiny jewels, and little pumpkins. And then I found some burlap. Now, burlap's going to be our theme for today. I'm going to put it in mostly everything. And burlap is just kind of like a sack material, but they come in long spools, kind of like thread. Speaking of thread, I also found this really nice lace one. So you guys can have fun today. Grab a couple different things, and we're going to try to put these together. Now, I'm going to begin with my candle here. Now, for my candle, there's many things I can do, but what I'm going to show you guys today is how to draw or to tie a burlap ribbon around a candle. Now, this is an electric candle. That way, the burlap doesn't get too hot, but you guys can really use any kind of candle you have or even your mason jar. So I'm going to move a couple things just up here out of our way, because I won't need all of this right this very second. All right, so again, I'm going to focus on my larger candle. Now, when I use my burlap, you're going to notice it's super, super thick. It's probably kind of hard to tie a bow around the whole thing. It's the same size as the candle. So what I do recommend is cutting the burlap in half. So that way it's a little bit easier to do. So I've already done that. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what that looks like. So this is the burlap cut in half. I like that it has these little shreds everywhere. It makes it seem just a little bit more homey and cozy and more handcrafted. To me, that's the whole point of our class today, is a nice handcrafted thing to decorate with. So please go ahead and cut the burlap in half. Now, if yours is thin enough, you don't need to. I'm going to kind of leave that up to you guys to judge. One more thing is, this is a video, so at any time, if you need to stop and pause to work on something, please do. Crafts always take a little bit longer for different people, so don't worry. All right, let's go back to our candle. I cut it just a length. I kind of wrapped it around just to judge how much I feel like I might need. It's okay if you need to cut some more, but I'm just going to lay it down and put my candle about halfway. Then I'm just going to go ahead and tie a simple bow. Now when I do this, just like you're tying your shoes, I'm going to pull it nice and tight around the candle. Now it's up to you. You can move it up a little higher, right in the middle, maybe towards the bottom. Again, that's just preference. I'm going to put mine right in the middle, pull it nice and tight, and then I'm going to tie a bow. If you don't know how to tie a bow, you can just ask a friend or a parent, maybe someone who's there to help you, or tie it in a knot. Just tie it one more time like you're tying your shoes and pull it tight. Then cut off some of the little extra, and that'll look really nice as well. So you can do a knot or a bow. So I'm going to go ahead and just do my bow. So just like I'm tying my shoes, however you guys like to tie bows. Everyone ties them a little different, I found out. I'm going to stand it up so it's a little easier, and I'm just going to pull it tight. Now you may have some extra at the end. That's okay, just cut that off. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm just kind of pulling it tight and trying to get a nice bow shape for my top and bottom. Now there's a lot of little extra shreds everywhere. That's okay, use those to your advantage. Kind of just push them around or pull some off if you think you have too many. So I have this guy here, he's a little bit too big, so I'm just gonna pull it off. And here we go, is a nice little bow. So again, you just kind of gotta keep pulling until you have it in a good position. Fluff the edges. So see, I'm taking the little loops and I'm kind of pulling it apart. So now it has a really nice bow shape. So again, I just kind of pulled those loops apart. I have my little ends hanging down. I can pull that a little more if I feel like I can't see them as much. And there you guys have a nice bow for your candle. Again, if you have any little excess, pull it off or even cut it off. Sometimes it's all wrapped up in there like a little bow. Just take some scissors and again, just trim off any of these little extra pieces that you don't like. And there we have this cute little bow for your table. You can turn your light on or light the candle, and it just looks nice. You can set it out to be used. Now, one other thing you could do, if you like maybe just having the burlap, you can leave it, or take something a little fun, a little extra, and you can always glue it right onto the center of the bow. A leaf, a pine cone, whatever you feel like might look really good. Maybe a little pumpkin will look super cute. So for this, I do recommend a hot glue. So what I'm gonna do is take my hot glue gun, put a little tiny bit on the back. Now, if you don't have hot glue, don't worry. I want you just to go ahead and use your craft glue. You can just stick it on and hold. Hot glue will dry much quicker, but craft glue will take a little while. And there you guys go, have a cute little extra sparkle there to your bow. So awesome job. If you could want to make a whole bunch more, you can. I'm going to turn my light off, but that's up to you. Now for our mason jar, I'm going to make it a little bit different. I still can tie a bow around, but this time I'm going to add stuff to my jar. So mine is cute. It has a little thing that says thankful on it, but you can just do any kind of jar. It doesn't even have to be a mason jar. But what I do recommend is open it up and fill it with something. So I have all this good extra stuff here. You could fill it with these little beads. So I'm going to stick some inside. You can do all of this too, not just one of them. You can fill it up as much or as little as you want. I'm going to go ahead and put them all in. Maybe you have leaves. You guys could go outside and gather some fall colored leaves. Maybe I want to put the rest of my sparkly ones inside. You can lay those around. What I like to do too is I like to push them towards the glass part. So that way when people look at it, they can see it. So I'm going to push those to the edges. Let the sparkle show. And my favorite thing to add is a candle. Now again, I chose electric, so that way it's easy to stay lit for longer. And you just squish it into the middle of the mason jar. And there you guys have a really cute little candle decoration. You can keep adding more too. Maybe I want to put some pine cones in there, maybe just a few, see if I can squeeze some in there with my candle. You can cover the candle so it looks like it's glowing through it, or you can just leave it as is. So again, that's up to you guys how much you want to fill. So go ahead and add some things inside and maybe put a little candle or maybe no candle, and you just keep filling it with a whole bunch of different things, and when you close it, you have this really cute looking mason jar filled with a whole bunch of fun stuff. So again, leave that up to you guys as the artist. I'm going to stick my little candle inside, close it up, and here we have a nice little mason jar or jar filled with some fall themed stuff. Now I'm not going to add burlap this time, but you're more than welcome to. I'm going to add my ribbon. So I'm going to just take off some ribbon and I'm going to cut it. Now measure just how much you feel like you need, but you might not need too much. All right, here we go. I grabbed quite a bit just in case I feel like I need a little extra. Now I'm going to just wrap it around just like before. This time I don't want to tip it over because I might accidentally spill my things out of my jar. And again, tie maybe a bow or a knot, just whatever you feel like. Now again, you could just leave it. You don't have to add anything to the outside. Maybe you just want to leave it the fun things in the middle. Again, you just want to kind of pull until you get a good length for your bow. Now, I like the little extra, so I'm going to leave it, but maybe you want to cut that off so it's a little shorter. That's up to you. But there you have a nice little jar and a nice little candle to decorate your guys' tables. All right, now after this, next we're gonna go ahead and work on our napkins, how to fold those and what to add inside. So let's go ahead and get ready for that now. All right, you guys, so as you can see here on our table, we have a lot of different things, and we're gonna begin with our napkin folding, and then we're gonna learn how to make a place card. So what I want you guys to get ready is some sort of napkin or even a towel, something you might use to kind of decorate your table with. You can use cloth or even a paper one, works just great. I grabbed a little bit of that ribbon from before. You can even use burlap for this. I found a couple little fun fall themed plants. They're fake, but you could also use real, some cotton, some little willows that you would pick from the sides. Any sort of leaves will work. My silverware that I'm going to need, you could use real or even plastic. That's going to be for the napkin. Then for our place card, you're going to need some sort of fall colors. So tans, browns, oranges, or even a color that you might celebrate with a different holiday or whatever kind of holiday you might celebrate in fall. So I want you guys to really be themed for our class today. And if you guys have some fun metallic markers, these are some fun Sharpie kind of metallic markers you can write with, some scissors, and if you guys have any fall paper, this is just a whole bunch of different kinds, but again, I have some oranges and some yellows that I'm going to use today. So get all that ready, but let's go ahead and begin with the napkin folding. Now for the napkin folding, kind of reminds me of origami. There's a certain way to fold that napkin to make it have a little pouch to put your silverware inside. So I want you guys to try your best to follow along. It's okay if it's a little hard. Rewatch that part of the video over and over again until you get it. So I'm going to go ahead and clear things out of the way. All we need to have is the napkin or towel in front of us. Now for this, you guys can do a square or rectangle, whatever might work. Mine's more of a rectangle. It's so tall you can't even see the whole thing in the picture. I also have a cute little design on mine. Now, yours might not, that's okay, but if it does, I'll show you a way to make sure that is what's showing first. So go ahead and lay your napkin or towel down and have the nice side facing up. And by that, I mean, if you notice the back, there's a little seam here. We don't want that to show. So you want the nice side to be facing up. All right, I'm gonna go nice and slow, but again, please rewatch this part of the video whenever you need to. So I'm gonna start by taking the bottom and we're gonna pull it all the way up to the top, just like that, lining up my edges the best you can. Good, and I'll just crease the bottom. So now it's either gonna be just half your rectangle or half the square that you have. Then we're gonna take this first layer, the one we just folded up, and we want these corners to now match the bottom corners. So I'm gonna do that again. We fold it in half. I'm gonna take my top two corners and I'm gonna fold them down to touch the bottom corners, and then I'm gonna crease it. Now, if you have a design like me, it's kind of cutting part of it off. So what I can do instead, again, this is only if you have a design, just pull it down a little more until you see the whole design. And if you have any extra that didn't quite match up with the corner, just tuck it underneath. So again, that's only for those who maybe have some sort of design or saying on theirs. But one more time, let me go over that again. I'm gonna take my top two corners, fold them down to the bottom. If you have a little extra, pull it a little bit more and tuck anything else underneath. All right, so now you kind of know there's a little pocket here. So what you're gonna do is take the whole thing, hold on tight to it, and you're gonna flip it over to the other side. So trying to make sure nothing moves around when you're doing that. Really flatten it so it stays nice. And we're gonna do a 3/4 fold. So that's when you take your sides and you go to the middle. So again, I'm gonna show you. Take your sides and you fold it to the middle. It can be even a little bit past that. Then you're gonna take the other side, fold that to the middle as well. So one more time, let me show you. You're gonna take your sides here, fold it over till it gets to the middle, flatten it out. One more time, fold that over till it gets to the middle, flatten that out. Now, when you do this and you flip it back to the other side, you should see a little pocket. You can put your silverware and a whole bunch of fun stuff inside. Now, if that was a little confusing, you got a little lost, please rewatch that part of the video and just do it over and over again. It'll get a lot easier. Don't worry, I even had to practice quite a bit too. But I'm gonna go ahead and move on now to the decorating of the silverware and all the things inside. So again, if you need to rewatch it before you move on, please go ahead and do so. Now you guys, we're gonna start with some silverware because to me, that's the most important part. I have a knife, a spoon, and a fork. Now, maybe sometimes during your dinners, you don't need a knife. Maybe you just need your spoon and fork. Maybe you only need a fork and a knife. Maybe you have other utensils that you want to bring in as well. It doesn't have to be just these, but these are the 3 that I gathered. I'm just going to stick them in. Now, there is usually a right way to do it, but what I'm going to do for my design is I'm going to put my knife towards the outside. Then I'm going to put my fork and my spoon. But again, if you have a very nice way to set it all up, please go ahead and do that. I moved mine a little bit to the left. Reason why is because I want to grab all these plants out or flowers or whatever you got, and we're going to stick them on the right, on the left side. I mixed that up. But I'm just going to go ahead, and there's no wrong way to do this. So I'm just going to start sticking some things in and kind of figuring out the way that I like. Some can be a little taller, some can be a little shorter. Maybe I want my main one, which is my really fluffy cotton, to go right in the middle, just like that. And this just gives a little extra fall feeling. Now maybe instead you want it on the opposite side and your silverware over here. That's going to be up to you. This is one way to do it. Another way is you stick everything in the middle, grab your ribbon, and you're going to put it underneath, right where this seam is. And you're going to go ahead and tie a bow. Let me see if I can pull that over a little bit. I like to tie bows here a lot. It's very cute, very festive, looks really nice. Now you can just leave it as so. I'm going to tie a knot this time, not a bow. And I could take something like my cotton. My cotton's a really good main thing to focus on, or maybe a flower of some sort or a leaf. You can stick it inside the knot, pull it all the way through, and tie that knot really tight, and then cut off this little bit of extra, maybe with some scissors, if it's a real flower. If it's not a real flower and it has wire in it, you're going to need some wire cutters. So be very careful and make sure you have mom or dad there to help you as well. So again, mine's made of wire, so I'm going to have to just leave it as so, but you can put that in the middle, and there you have another way to set up your napkin. Now, the last one I'll show you is instead of having an object here, you could actually still put it, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie this very tight around my silverware. So I'm going to kind of untie it here, take my towel, and I'm going to kind of just scrunch it up. Remove my silverware before I try. So that way, it kind of creates this nice little fold. I can tie it and have it kind of scrunch up my napkin, and then I can put all my silverware inside, like so. Tie a bow, tie a knot, whatever it might be, and gives it a little extra look to your place setting. So these are just 3 ways. There's many, many more. So maybe you came up with another way as you were listening and watching on how you would want to set up your silverware. Again, you can still add more things. Maybe you still want to put some sort of design inside with your flowers or just a few plants. So I want you guys to get creative and go ahead and make up your little napkin design. It's going to be up to you how you want it to go together. Key thing is though, probably not to glue anything because someone's going to have to use this napkin. So eventually when a family member sits down, they would untie the ribbon like so. They would take out the little fun decorations. They can set them on the table, makes it look even nicer. And then they can go ahead and take their silverware out to use. And then they would open up their napkin and put it in their laps for them to eat their dinner. So those are just a couple fun ways. I want you guys to go ahead and have fun decorating and folding all your napkins. But now I want to move on to our place card. So I'm going to move my napkin out of the way, all my silverware, and bring out my paper. Now again, you guys can have fun with the colors. I just grabbed some colors that matched my fall theme that I was going with, but there's many different colors you guys could decorate any table with. I grabbed some tan and brown, and then again, some fun pattern paper. So I think I'm going to pull out this yellow one. I really like that with my colors that I have here. And I grabbed my fun pens. You can also just use a pencil. Definitely gonna need some scissors. And even if you have a ruler, that will help you make some nice straight lines. So I'm gonna decide I need 2 layers. I have this brown color here, and then I have my tan on the inside. So I'm going to leave that there for inspiration. Decide which color you would like to use first. What's going to be the background? I think I'm going to use my darker color again, and then I'm going to use my yellow to go on top, just like so. So go ahead and grab those 2 that you would like to use today. Move my markers over here. And definitely going to need a pencil so I can draw my lines. All right, let's grab a ruler, or you could just freehand it. Now what I like to do is I like to fold my cards here in half. See how it's almost like a little tent? I even folded it again. So I'm going to take my ruler. Now my ruler is about a whole inch across. If yours isn't, go ahead and just measure it to be. So I have 1 inch, or I should say 2 inches, pardon me. My ruler is 2 inches across. It's a big ruler. So if you don't have that, just measure 2 inches. And I drew a line. Let me sharpen that for you so it's a little easier to see. Use one of my fancy ones. And then I'm going to measure another 2 inches. Reason why is because I'm going to be cutting this and then folding it in half. So I want to try to get 2 inches on both sides. So again, I'll go ahead and Sharpie that with my fun fall Sharpie. So I have 2 lines, and I'm going to cut this bottom one. So once you measure your 2 inches on the top, 2 inches on the bottom, you may take your scissors and cut the bottom line. So there should be 1 in the middle. I'll move that out of the way. I find 2 inches to be great. Now, it doesn't matter how long it was. Mine kind of turned into a square. I think it's roughly about 4 to 5 inches long. Mine's about 5 inches. But you guys can make it longer or shorter. Depends on if you're making someone's name who's really long. My whole name is Jessica, so I would need to get a longer card, but since it was smaller, I just wrote Jess. So I want to leave that up to you. 2 inches on the top and bottom, but the length is just depending on the name that you're going to write. Now I'm going to fold this in half, so I'll just go ahead, top to bottom, a nice long way, and then I'll crease it at the top, just like so. And when I open it up, it stands like a tent. Now if you notice, it's a little easier to read this name and kind of hard to see the front of this card. So in order for your guests and your families to see their name, we're going to bend the back a little bit. So I'm going to just flip it over to a side. I'm going to take the bottom of it, and I'm just going to bend it up a little tiny bit. Doesn't even need to be perfect, just enough to kind of give it a little bit of an end. And when I now fold it over, it's a little easier to see the front of the card. So that's why I added that little bit in the back. It just kind of helps out the reader, whoever's going to sit at the table. But now we have to figure out how to decorate the front. So I'm going to grab my second card here, my color, and I can just, it's just about the right size to sit right inside of it. So if you need to, say your paper is really big this way, you can just kind of figure out where you want it to go. And then, okay, say I'm going to take my pencil and I'm just going to mark, okay, I need to cut this much off and this much across. Or you guys can sit and do the math and say, if this is 2 inches by 5 inches. But for me, I just like to eyeball it. It makes my crafts a little bit more fun. So I'm just going to take this. I like the size of it on my card. I know I need to cut about this much off on both sides. take my ruler, find my two lines, and just kind of draw a straight one going across, making sure it's straight. And that's where I'm going to cut. So again, it's going to be a little different for everybody. Here we are. And I'm just going to make sure, measure it up. Looks awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that on. Now for this, I recommend a glue stick or tape. Don't use hot glue. There's no reason. It's going to be very warm on your fingers, and I don't think we need to worry about that. So I'm just going to take my glue stick or tape, glue the back of my colored fun paper, and glue it to the back side here. Nice and straight. Flatten that out. And there we have a nice little card that we can write somebody's name on the front. So I want you guys to decide, who is this for? Maybe you're making it for your mom or your dad or you. So I want you guys to think of a name, and you can write it any way you want. Maybe Google some fonts. I just did a little bit of cursive. So you guys can have fun with who you want it to be. You can use a fun marker. Maybe write it in pencil first so it's a little easier to see, and then you can trace over it with the fun colors. So I'm going to now write my whole name since it's much, much longer. And you guys can just go ahead, practice your cursive, or just write it really nicely like so. You can decorate it, make it look fancy, make some parts a little bit thicker than the others. Again, have fun Googling some kind of fonts, or if you have really nice handwriting already, use that. You can add some things underneath so they know, oh yes, that's me. Maybe grab some different colors. You can add things like leaves and decorate the sides of the card. Or you can just add polka dots. So I want you guys just to have fun decorating your cards however you would like to. Maybe you want to make each one a little different depending on who's the name, or make them all the same. But then once you pop these up, so I'm going to fold the back a little bit. Again, now we have our nice cards we can set at each place setting for everyone in our family to know. So awesome job, you guys. We're almost done. We just need our table runner to go in the middle of our table. So let's go ahead, move everything out of the way, and get ready for the table runner, our last one. All right, guys, it is our last craft for today. We are going to make our table runner. We really just need three things: our burlap, our ribbon, and a glue gun or some sort of craft glue. You can use Elmer's glue, or you guys can just use, there's a really nice called tacky glue, and it works really well for crafts like this. So again, if you're using hot glue, please make sure you have parent supervision. Otherwise, just grab your craft glue and we can go ahead and get started. Now, a table runner is meant to go in the middle of the table, so everyone's tables might be a little different. What I recommend doing is taking your burlap and just stretching it out all the way as much as you can and measure how long your table is. If your table is much longer than your burlap, all you have to do is just get it to be equal on both sides. It's okay if it doesn't hang off the edge of the table, but the goal is to kind of get it to hang off the table as well. Again, with the ribbon, if you don't quite have enough, it's okay. You can always just maybe make a square. It doesn't have to be the whole length of your table. Now, I already have a couple pieces cut here, so I'm just going to move this out of the way. But what I would like you guys to do is go ahead and grab your burlap, stretch it out, and see how long you need to make it. Again, mine, I already have it super, super long, all the way hanging off my table on both sides. It's so big you can't even see the whole thing in the picture. So just try to get it as much as you can. Now we need two pieces. Mine is not very big, so I need two. Now if you grabbed a really big burlap, maybe it was very, very thick, then you don't need to worry about using two. But again, mine is not very thick. So I'm going to grab two pieces, put them next to each other. There's a little fold here, and that's okay. It'll straighten out. But I'm going to glue the seams together, so where it meets in the middle. This is where our hot glue or tacky glue will come into play. So I'm going to start down here at the end. I'm going to glue right along the thickest part, not the middle, just a little bit at a time. Then I'm going to overlap right on top. Now, if you're using hot glue, be careful, don't touch it. Ooh, it's very warm. So you can poke it with your finger, but again, your glue might get through. So I like to have something with me. So here, is my glue bottle, or maybe I want to use my ruler, and I'm just going to lay it down and press. Because again, I don't want to burn my fingers. Now, if you're using regular glue, not a problem. You're just going to get a little sticky. All right, and there we have our first little bit. So you're just now going to go along the seam, taking your glue just a little bit at a time. Don't do the whole thing at once, otherwise it will probably get uneven. So again, just a little bit at a time. So let's go ahead and just spend some time adding that, gluing that seam together. Now, if you have just one big piece, you can skip this step. This is just for if you need to make your table runner thicker, like I definitely need to do. All right, great job. Maybe you're thinking about all the fun stuff that you're going to put on it, all the cool crafts that we've made so far. Now, with hot glue, make sure you have extra ready to go. It uses it up very, very quickly. Make sure your thing doesn't stick to your table. All right, I'm almost done. Now, my table's not as big as some of yours, so this might take you a little bit of extra time. Please make sure you just pause your video, go ahead and finish up whatever you're working on, and then you can press play when you are ready to go. Right, just a little bit more, and then I'll be done. Now, you can always add more. Maybe you want to just put a couple extra pieces of ribbon. You can do that. Doesn't have to just be one piece of lace ribbon like I'll do. Feel free to add much, much more if you would like to. But I like to keep my table runners very simple because then I'm going to put all my fun stuff on top that we made. All right, guys, great job. Now, again, just keep on going, but if you have finished, wonderful. Okay, now don't worry, this will in time flatten out. It's just because it's been bent for a little bit of time, wrapped up together. But here we go. Now, it's not going to separate. I don't mind that there's a seam in the middle. I think it gives it a little bit of character. But at the top and bottoms, that's where I want to add my lace. So I'm going to grab my ribbon. Now, again, you want to cut it to be about the same size. All right, there we go. Fits nicely at the top. We'll get a little bit more. And perfect. Go ahead and measure that and cut the ribbon to be the size that you need. And we want to lay it at the top and the bottom, right on that edge. If we do it in the burlappy part, remember the glue kind of seeps through. You might realize that already. It might be on your hands, so please go ahead and wipe that off if you need to. We don't want glue all over our hands. And we are going to just glue this down as well. So you can take your glue, remember if you're using hot glue, have something with you to kind of stick it down. And you're just going to peel it off. Add some glue to the very edge right here along the seam and lay the ribbon down. And remember, press. If it's hot glue, use some sort of object so you don't burn your fingers. And same thing like before. We're just going to glue a little at a time, lay our ribbon down, press, and move on to the next part. Now for this, don't worry if it's straight. Try your best, but remember, the best thing about homemade crafts is that they don't always look perfect. And that's how the person knows it's homemade, and it means much, much more to them and to your family. I need a little bit more hot glue. My trick to hot glue is I like to kind of melt the end a little bit, and then I can stick it together. So all you parents out there, if you use hot glue a lot, it's a really good trick. All right, I'm almost done with the bottom. Then I'm going to move to the top. Now remember, if you would like to add something else to it, you're more than welcome. Maybe you want to write something like thankful on it. So what I recommend for that is paint. You can grab any kind of paint you want. I have a couple different kinds here, metallic, gold, and silver. These are just look really nice because they're shiny against the burlap. To paint, you need to make sure you put something underneath like a piece of paper because like we've learned, glue likes to seep through the burlap. So you'd want to stick something underneath, grab your paintbrush of some sort that you're going to use, grab the color, and then you would just go right ahead and begin to write the word that you want to put on it. You could also use your metallic markers. Now they won't show up right away as nicely, but you can still try your best to do so. So maybe we want to put thankful, because that's during this time we do feel very thankful that we have our family. So you can just do regular letters, or you can do some sort of fancy writing. So again, I'm just using my metallic marker, or you can use paint. You can do cursive, you can just do regular, and you want to just keep on going until you have your letter or your whole word. It's a little hard to see because I'm using silver. Silver doesn't really show up on the screen too well, but I can see it and I feel like it looks really, really nice. So have some fun if you want to have some sort of word on your runner too, and then when you take it away you can kind of see it showing through. I only wrote a couple letters because I would have ran out of room. But I want you guys to just have fun decorating the rest of that. This is our last thing we're going to do. So of course, if you want to spend some extra time, maybe you want to write a bunch of words. I wrote thank, and then I would continue to write full on the rest of it. But that is all that's going to be for our table runner for today. So great job, you guys. That was a lot of hard work, and now we can just put everything together. So you can grab your mason jar or your jar, can set it in the middle, grab your candle, put that on there as well. Maybe you have some sort of cute pumpkin. You can put your pumpkin on there. Maybe you have your plate ready to go as well. I'm ready to eat. So we can decorate our table runner, grab our napkin and our silverware and put everything on there. Any little extra stuff like little fun cotton or some fun little extra things. You guys can have fun and decorate your table however you would like. And I hope that mom and dad or grandma and grandpa, whoever you're going to help today, I bet they're going to be super, super appreciative of all the hard work that you did to set up your guys' table for your holiday. So I hope you guys have some fun and really put all that together. You can bring out your napkin. Mine's so big for my plate, I would definitely just need to put it nearby. Well, wonderful job, you guys. Thank you for joining me in our fun fall crafts. We learned how to decorate a whole table, and feel free to add some more. My name is Miss Jessica here with Fibo Kids Art Academy. I hope you have a wonderful fall, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.